Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living Well with Coach Racquel. I am your host, and I am just excited to be here with you today as we navigate this crazy world, but more importantly, as we work together to find those tools and tips and just simple everyday things you can do to help as you navigate this wellness journey. So today's session is going to be all about just breathing. Just breathing, something so simple, and we do it every day, all day long, and yet it's something that we sometimes forget to do. So before we jump into that and we jump into our show and we try out some of these cool tips, I want to thank the She Is Dope Network. Please make sure that you go and check them out at all social media platforms at She Is Still Dope. Check them out and see what these amazing women are doing. There are many, many shows in addition to mine, so check them out. Again, my name is Coach Racquel. I am your navigator and your guide for everything wellness. And if you want to check me out at fit2wellness.com. You can go on the website as well as on social media. It's FIT, the number 2, YOU Wellness. So definitely check me out there for some tools and to get some more information just about coaching and what that is, what it looks like. So today we are definitely going to dive right into our topic. So, as I was coming up with, and as God was really sharing with me this message about just breathing, one of the things, especially with all that's going on right now, is that many of us, and myself included, are hitting these walls where you just feel out of control. It's like there's so much going on, and so much of it we don't personally control. We can't control what's going on, what's going to happen with the election. We can't control what's going to happen with this pandemic. There's so many things that are just kind of up in the air. And that lack of control can lead to so much stress and so much anxiety, and so many people are feeling it. And I always call them, sometimes these adult temper tantrums, right? It's just like one day it just hits you where it's just like, you just want to throw yourself on the ground and kick and scream. And I just want everyone, listening, just to know that that is perfectly normal. You are not alone. Everyone is feeling it. And I don't care how much we may know about a subject and how much, we might, as experts, have researched and done the work and know all these tools. There is no one that is exempt from these feelings. The only difference is just knowing the tools and having them at your disposal to use when you need them. So today we're going to talk about that, because one of the most simple things that we can do is just breathe. And like I said earlier, we're all doing it every day. It's one of those, the things that we need, right? None of us can survive without it. It is essential to our life. And yet we often forget about it. We take it for granted because it's something that we do automatically. But there's so many benefits to actually breathing that we don't necessarily pay attention to. When we're breathing intentionally, right, taking those moments, it actually can either give you energy or it can help you to relax, especially when you're feeling anxious and, stressed inside of a situation or preparing for a situation. It also helps with our body. And so breathing is actually that mind-body connection. When we're doing it intentionally, because it's helping us to really start to focus inward on what we need and what we want. And so setting intentions is another great thing when we're talking about breathing. Do it intentionally. Like, what is your purpose? What is it that you're needing in this exact moment that this breath is going to help you with? The other thing that breathing is going to help you with is to really help with your nervous system. So some of the tips and techniques that we're going to learn today actually will help reset your body and put it right into a relaxed setting. Because a lot of times we're in that fight and flight mode when we're stressed. And so breathing is one of the easiest ways to get your body to immediately go into a relaxed position. And these are things that you can do less than 10 minutes. You don't have to set yourself up in a quiet place for all of these, although it's great when you can do that. But these are things you can do every day anytime, anywhere to really get yourself back into that relaxed position so that we can make better decisions. Our bodies run off of oxygen. So if we're not getting it to our brains, especially when we're stressed, that oxygen is not getting there. And so, a lot of times we're not making good decisions. We're not focused. We kind of have that fogginess about, in our minds, just trying to think of things and trying to figure things out. So when you're in that stress state, that is not a great time to be making any major decisions. So if you need to make a major decision, make sure you're breathing first. Take just a few minutes, stop, breathe, and then allow yourself to make those decisions. The other thing that breathing will actually help you do is to lower your blood pressure. And I think I talked about this in our last session, but I've done biometric screening where I go out to different companies and I help people with their height, weight, blood pressure and taking vitals, things like that. And, even in sitting there, a lot of times I'm going to companies. So people are coming and they're stressed out. They've had a meeting right before, they have a meeting after, and they come and sit down and they're all, in uproar, and you take their blood pressure and it's sky high, and I always like to have people reset for a moment. And I show them these tips and techniques that I'm going to show you today. And then immediately when we retake that blood pressure, a lot of times we see it drop down, sometimes 10 or more points just in that one moment of taking those breaths. So really important, not just for the relaxation, but also for our body, physiologically, our body needs oxygen. And it was actually interesting. One of the research studies that I was reading about was even about this connection with oxygen and cancer. So I'm not a medical person, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on it, but go out there, look up this information, especially if that's something that you're dealing with. Sometimes, just something as simple as breathing can help to prepare our bodies and make sure that we have what we need to fight something like that. So definitely read on it, check it out. It's not an end all be all, but definitely something to start thinking about, as you are preparing for and going through different things, different diseases, different illnesses. Something as simple as just taking a breath can make all the difference in how you feel in that moment and how you're dealing with it in that moment. So the first breath that we're going to talk about today is the 4-7-8 breath. Now, when it comes to this, the exact number doesn't really matter. I've done it 5-5-7. You could do it, 4-7-8. But it's really just about the ratio, making sure that that first breath is the shortest, and then you're going to hold in the middle. So picking a number in between those two. And then the last breath as you're breathing out is going to be the longest. This particular breath is the absolute fastest way to get your body to go back into a relaxed state. And I tell people, even when we're doing something as simple as eating, right? If you are in a riled up state, you were just, working with the kids and, you're trying to figure out, different things, we're multitasking all the time. Well, our bodies are in that fight or flight state, whether we want it to be or not. And so in that moment, your body is only thinking about surviving. And when we're not in that relaxed state, things like digestion are not, that's a secondary thing. More important is you breathing, more important is you, having that energy to either fight something or to get away from something. And so we really have to be mindful, even when we're just doing something as simple as eating, making sure that you are in a relaxed state so that your body can actually do what it's designed to do and not focus so much on just making sure that, that the danger is okay, if that makes sense. So we're just really wanting to take these breaths to allow ourselves and give our bodies a chance to reset and really refocus on what it's supposed to do. Because when we don't, that's where we get like stomach issues and different things like that. We're not digesting our foods properly. And, a lot of times people are, focused on losing weight and they're wondering why their stomachs aren't going down, because that stress response will hit you right there in that stomach area. And so you get the bloating and all those things. So even though you might be eating the healthiest foods, if you're not allowing your body to do what it's supposed to be doing while you're eating it, then, all of those things will sometimes kind of counteract even the healthiest behaviors and habits that we're trying to do. So with this 4-7-8 breath, very simple. You're going to start in your nose and you're going to allow it to exhale out of your mouth. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take 4 deep breaths in. And you're almost counting in your mind, right? 4 breaths in, then you're going to hold it for 7, and then you're going to exhale out for 8. So I'm going to do it just to demonstrate it for you. If you are in a place to be able to, definitely try it with me. If you can't do that right now, maybe you're driving or you have something else going on, maybe you're working with the kids, maybe you're just having a moment, totally okay. You can always come back to this another time when you really need it. So you're going to deep breath through your nose for 4, and I'm going to count it out for you. So deep breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathing out, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And so you're going to try that just a few more times. And so we'll do it again, just in case you kind of need it in this moment. So you're going to take that deep breath in for 4, deep breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, breathing out your mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on that last one, you're really just exhaling everything, letting it go in that moment. And like I said, that particular breath is the easiest and fastest way to get your body right back into your relaxed state, no matter where you are. You can do it while you're driving. You can do it while you're, cooking. You can do it pretty much anytime, anywhere. And it's also a great thing to do before, like if you have a really important meeting coming up, or maybe there's a really important conversation that you need to be having with somebody. Great time to just do that. And you can do it for less than a minute. I always tell my clients, do it until you feel better, right? So if you've done it 3-4 times, and then you're still feeling anxious, do it again. And so one round of that would be the inhale for 4, holding it for 7, and then breathing out for 8. That's one round. And then you would do it again. I'd say at least 3 to 5 times. But again, if you get to that third to fifth time and you're still feeling anxious, go for it, do it again. But definitely a great way to get yourself to come back to being relaxed. The next breath that I'm going to share with you today is often called the lion's breath. And this breath, I think when I think of it, it always takes me back to my childhood, right? And so, in my house, if you did the, you know what I mean? That was an easy way for you to get in trouble. And so I'm sure many of you have seen it. Many of you have done it. Many of you have watched your kids do it. And so what's really interesting about that is that it's our body's natural way of kind of just letting go of something, and most of the time when you see people do that, it's because they're so frustrated, and it's almost like a steam pot, right? So we're just boiling up. And then it's just like this moment where you just have to exhale and let this air go. And so, while it's not the best thing, and if any teenagers are watching, I wouldn't recommend you doing this in front of your parents in a heated moment. But it's definitely, when used properly or when used in the right context, is a great way to help your body to relax and really to release some of that pent up energy. We talked about this a little before. Everything is energy, right? We're taking it in or we're giving it out at some point throughout our day. And so, these traumas, these frustrations, these situations, this lack of control that we're feeling in a day is energy that we're taking in. And so this lion's breath is a great way to release that energy. And as a yoga instructor, one of the things that I've even noticed for myself in my practice is that it sometimes brings tears, right? Because all of these emotions, all of these things that you didn't even know were pent up inside come flowing out in this process. And so this lion's breath is a great thing to use if you're getting ready, if you've got like something really big coming up If you're feeling anxious, anyone feeling anxious, if you're feeling a lot of stress, I know a lot of us are on these Zoom calls all day, so it's a great thing to use in between. And actually, either one, the 557 or the lion's breath would be a great one to use in between. But if you notice that you're feeling a little stressed in between these calls, definitely hit that lion's breath up and release some of that energy so that you can be ready for that next call that you have going on, or for your children or for your family, once you're done with your day. So, for those of you who are actually going out to a job, do this a few times before you come back into your house so that you can release that negative energy that you have, that, subconsciously maybe you stored in. You might even not even notice it, but definitely a great way to release it. So when it comes to the lion's breath, you want to make sure you're sitting in a nice, comfortable space. And it doesn't matter if you're sitting in a chair, if you're sitting on the floor, just nice and comfortable. And you're going to spread those hands nice and wide, right? So we're receiving that energy through our hands. You can put it on your knees afterwards, but spreading them out nice and wide. With this lion's breath, it's actually interesting. This one, you actually want to keep your eyes open as much as you can, either gazing down or gazing up, because for this one, this is where we're connecting not just to our minds and our bodies, but also connecting to something that's greater than ourselves, like that higher energy. I call that God, but whatever it is that you connect to, you're connecting to that. And so oftentimes you'll see people, especially in the yoga world, connected to our third eye or our forehead chakra. And so you want to bring that energy into that space. And so, whether you're looking up, or just kind of gazing up to the ceiling, whatever feels good for you during this breath, that's what you're going to do. So hands are wide, nicely planted on your knees. We're looking up, really connecting. And this is also a great one to use when you are to set an intention, like what is it that you're needing in this moment? And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take a deep breath in. And then you're going to open your mouth nice and wide like a lion and almost making like a sound, and you're just going to release it out nice and slowly, or however you need to. If you want to burst it out, if you want to release it slowly, whatever feels good to you in that moment. So we're going to try that and practice that a couple times. So remember, looking up, really focusing in on that third eye, as we call it, or that forehead chakra. Looking up, deep breath in through your nose, opening your mouth. Just allowing that energy to release. Now, this one may look a little crazy if you can't quite necessarily do this out at the store, you're walking through the store, but definitely when you're in a place for yourself or whenever you're needing it, allowing yourself to really release that energy. So I'm going to invite you to try that one more time. Deep breath in. And so really you want to stretch that tongue out, almost as if it's touching your chin, just opening your mouth, almost like a lion's roar, if you can think of it. That's why they often call it the lion's breath, because you're just kind of breathing that out. I often like to think of a mirror, how like when you're just kind of, you have a mirror and you're kind of checking your breath out, breathing in onto that mirror. Whatever one of those analogies works best for you. But definitely just taking the time to allow that to really penetrate and releasing those energies. So as you guys go through this week, as you're thinking of whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're needing, make sure that you are taking the time out to intentionally breathe. One more tip that I want to give you before we kind of start to exit out for today is that there are really two types of breaths. One we call the lunar breath, and the other one is solar. And this really depends on what you're needing in this moment. So if you are needing energy, like maybe, you've had a long day, you're really tired, but you need to kind of pep up for something or be present for someone else, or maybe just present for yourself, you want to do what we call the solar breath. So in solar breathing, your inhale is going to be longer than your exhale. So for example, in something like the 4-7-8, you would do the 8 breathing in and then a 5-6 as you breathe out. So that would be our solar breath. So we're breathing in nice and slow, and then you're exhaling a little shorter than you would. and that would be the solar breath. Those types of breaths are going to give you energy. So if you need a little bit of energy and something coming in, go for the solar breath. But if you're needing to relax, if you're having anxiety, things like that, solar breath isn't good for those. So you want to stick more towards a lunar breath, which would be something like the 4-7-8, where you're breathing in for a shorter amount of time and then you're breathing out a lot longer, because that's really going to allow you to relax. And I'm sure for those of you who are trying this, you can really see like your shoulders just kind of start to drop and everything just kind of releases as we're releasing that energy. So solar breaths, bringing the energy in, lunar breaths, allowing that energy to release out. So we're going to do just a little bit of mindfulness, right? Because a lot of times these two go hand in hand, even though they're separate. A lot of times we need them both together, right? So you could breathe on your own, but it's even better when we bring intention into that. And that's what mindfulness is. It's just being present and really understanding where you are. Where is your mind at? Where are your thoughts at in this moment right now? No judgment though, right? We're not judging what's going on. We're not trying to solve it. We're not trying to fix it. We're just understanding where we are and being present in that moment for what we're needing. So I'm going to invite you to do this with me, and you can always hit the replay if you need to come back to this, or if you're feeling like, doing it alone isn't necessarily feeling good. But I'm just going to kind of invite some mindfulness into that breathing practice. And so you can choose whether you want to try the lion's breath out right now, if you want to try the 4-7-8. Or if you just want to play around with some lunar or solar breathing, just to kind of see how it feels for you as you're practicing that. And if this isn't something that you've necessarily done, it is going to feel weird. So don't let that stop you. Just keep trying it, keep practicing it. There's no right or wrong answer. Like I said earlier, it doesn't really matter what the ratio is that you're using, whether you're using a 5, 5, 5, 7, it could be a 5, 7, 8, those numbers really don't matter. It's just really about the ratio and making sure that if you're trying to get energy, you're breathing in slower. And if you're trying to relax, you're breathing out a lot slower. So in this, I want you to just take a moment. You can close your eyes, you can keep it open, whatever feels good for you. And you're just going to take this time just to listen, know where to be right now. There's nothing that you need to be doing other than just taking care of you. And in this moment, I want you to just set an intention. What is it that you're needing and wanting in this moment? What are you needing more of? And we're not judging this, but what do you want? What do you need in this moment? Are you needing to be more relaxed? Are you needing a little bit of energy in this moment? You choose. You are the author of your fate, and you get to decide what that looks like. And so I want you to just kind of set an intention for this moment and for this breathing exercise. And what I want you to do as you're breathing in whatever way that is, as you're inhaling, I want you to imagine that you're bringing in something good. Whatever it was that you were needing, allow that to enter into your body, almost as a light. So give it a color, give it some pizzazz, allow it to enter into your body and to feel good as you are bringing in love, or maybe you're bringing in joy, maybe you're bringing in peace, maybe happiness is what you're inviting in with that breath. And as you exhale, you're letting go of anything that no longer serves you. Figuring out today, whatever didn't go right today. You're letting go of these expectations that we put on ourselves. We're letting go of the control of not being in control. We're letting go of being perfect. And as you breathe out and exhale, I want you to imagine that it's going into the trash or just going out into the atmosphere away from you. And so with each breath, as you breathe in, we're bringing in rainbows, lollipops, sunshine. And as you're breathing out, we're letting go of anything that you no longer want or need in your life. And I'm going to invite you just to continue to sit in that space, taking those breaths in, allowing yourself to be nourished through the breath, through the air that you're breathing through your lungs and your nose, allowing it to fill up your body with this peace and that love, joy, whatever your word is for today. And then releasing those things that are no longer yours to hold on to. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't have to know what tomorrow is going to look like. You don't have to be afraid of what's coming and what's getting ready to come. You don't have to figure out how you can be perfect at your job and how you can get everything done right. It is okay in this moment to not have it all together. It is okay. It is part of your self care to give yourself a moment to just be. God did not intend for us to be here all stressed out, no matter what storm you're going through, no matter whether things are going the way that you want, no matter whether you're getting what you wanted, no matter if you've been praying about this thing for, years, months, weeks, whatever it is, God wants us to just be happy in every moment. And I know it's hard to tell someone that because we've all been through some things that didn't feel good in that moment. But here's the thing. We have to start to put into practice these things. We have to use these tools because otherwise we don't win. We don't get to win when we're constantly frustrated and when we're constantly stressed out and when we're constantly driving ourselves in these dark holes of trying to get and control everything. And so at some point, we have to just let it go. We have to be, and we have to come back to that space inside of us, which is pure light, which is pure love, which is pure happiness. Release that onion, those layers, letting these things go. And yes, I know it's not the perfect solution, but the more that we practice this, the more that no matter how many times these storms are coming against us, we still get to win. And so this week, I just encourage you to just use these breaths in whatever time you need it, whether it's before you go into the job, whether it's before you get out of your bed, whether it's at the end of the night before you tuck yourself in. If that day has been hard, breathe, let go of that energy so that you can have some peace as you go to sleep. Be grateful for those things that are going well in your life. Be grateful that you are still allowed and still have the opportunity to take a breath today. So I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you for being here, for supporting this, and for allowing me just to share some of those tools and tips to really help people. If this message has blessed you in any way, please share. If you know somebody who is struggling or who's having a hard time right now, share this with them. Just something as simple as taking a breath. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't take a lot of time out of your breath. But it's priceless in how it helps our bodies and how it helps our minds, and more importantly, how it helps our spirits to connect back to its pure form, which is love, joy, peace, and happiness. So I want to thank you again today for coming in and sharing this time with me. If you are needing any type of support, you can always go to my website, www.fit2uwellness.com. Whether it's on Facebook or if you want to go to my website, check me out. I've been offering some free coaching sessions for people to really help them to release some of these negative energies. So go on there, click on there, set up your appointment. I hope to see you soon. And again, remember the She Is Still Dope Network on all social media platforms. Check them out. Check out some other amazing women who are doing some amazing things. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Namaste.